Alright, folks, so we're going to talk about Eminem and what exactly was his best album, which some people are going to say is the Marshall Mathers LP. Now, from someone who knows Eminem and knows him pretty well, I am definitely going to say that this is nowhere near the case. I think this has to do with two things. The first of which is the fact that it wasn't a surprise anymore, and the second thing is people did not see him as crazy like he was then. And so songs like Kill You, he may never have made a song like that, but he actually did do some of that stuff in Relapse. It just became more exaggerated. It wasn't necessarily kill you, but he kills people. The energy was just kind of taken as entertainment versus, hey, I might actually be nuts. So beyond that, I mean, the Eminem Show is still a great album. It just has more mental issues more so than sadistic ones. So that's the main thing. Is Eminem very much still is a maniac, but it kind of made it seem as if he's more temperamental. And there's really not a problem with it. You hear on songs like Soldier and that sort of thing, but I mean, he could only take it so far before, obviously he had his image to display because he was getting on the radio. And, if he were to take the Brother Lynch direction, it'd be, he probably would have lost some of his fame. But, these are just things that add in rather suddenly. So, but then in addition to that, there's one thing that we can't forget, and it's the addition of 50 Cent. So between that, if you liked Eminem, the next door neighbor that you should basically try out was 50 Cent. And he started his own wave of stuff between G Unit and everything he did up to, the late 2000s. But in 2003, he was the biggest musician in rap, just like Eminem was the year before. And so, really, this was slick looks for him at any given point. And so, between that, Encore, and so many other things that wound up dropping, it was kind of big moments after big moments. So, you couldn't deny that even if he wasn't dropping the best albums, he had this, he was where riding with Eminem was the thing to do, and it was also the place to be. So, but that lasted up until about 2005 or so when he took his break, and then things started to change. He went through some dismay, and we have the Eminem you know today. But as far as that is concerned, I just do not feel as if he ever reached like a standpoint. The only thing I can really say about that is I'm kind of losing it here. I forgot what I was trying to say. So once again, these are just edited videos, so it's going to be kind of unscripted, but yeah, I don't remember that point. So what happened was he did make the music, but it just happened that the change and the trending, the shifts and that sort of thing was what kept him from being able to top it. I mean, obviously, if you look at all the albums he dropped, I mean, you had the Eminem Show, you had Encore, which was kind of a classic. It was just more humorous. I definitely recommend this is another album that you need to get. You had the 50 Cent album, all three of which, I mean, basically you had at least one album a year to get excited about, plus everything that his kin were doing. And so there's really no reason. I mean, that's the whole thing, is looking at that. But once again, it's also not 2005, so you have to pay attention. Well, how are his classics standing up today? I feel like Relapse was pretty much a pretty modern classic, but then some of the other stuff, like Recovery, was not to me just because he changed the approach on it. But then there's just the newer ones that you have to look forward to. The Bad Meets Evil and Slaughterhouse and Marshall Mathers LP 2. all of which, it just varies. I have not listened to those as much, but there's just so much going on that, he's been here the whole time. I mean, basically, Shady 15, he does put out the records. I mean, he's just kind of like Tech 9 at this point, where he's always going to have something good, but it's just tough trying to expect a classic every single time.